Wow. Wow.
That's when I came home. That was my first trip to the mainland. And it was such a memorable day. I said, my goodness, that's what I want to be, a musician. So I decided to stay a musician.
All right. Did you?
Originally, I wanted to be a cartoonist, but I said, wow, you know, music was so strong. I said, yeah.
You want to be a cartoonist?
I had the ambition of working for Disney someday, you know, because I used to draw pictures for the local newspaper, well, the high school paper, you know, the Daily Opinion of McKinley.
Did you draw the cover of Back in Action?
No, that was another person, but I admired that picture, you know. He was saying, I couldn't remember his name, but he was just a fine cartoonist. I think he made cartoons for the New York, what's that magazine? The New Yorker, I think.
The New Yorker, uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right. So you, this was all before World War II, right?
Beg pardon?
This was happening before World War II, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was there, so when 1941, the Pearl Harbor, it was in Pearl Harbor. We were only about 5 miles from Pearl Harbor, you know, and we could see all the action going on December 7th, you know.
So what happened?
It was scary.
Yeah, what happened during that time?
Well, let's see, I just turned 12, I think, 12 years old, and I could see the P-40 and the Zeros overhead, you know, flying, and dog fighting, and then see smoke coming out of Pearl Harbor, you know, and then we were told not to get out in the street because we stayed in the house, you know, and we were getting ready to evacuate, you know, into the mountains. We thought maybe it would be a invasion by then, you know, but everything was all right after that. But I mean, not all right, but you know, there was no invasion at that time.
By you being Japanese and Filipino ancestry, did you and your parents were Japanese Filipino, right? So did you, by any chance?
My father was Filipino.
Okay.
My mother was Japanese, so-called Japanese.
Did you have to get relocated during that time?
Yeah, we got relocated, but it was not a concentrated area, camp they call it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It was just relocated into another area because we were living right by. I was living with my grandfolks, you know, my grandma, grandpa,
mm-hmm.
and they were Japanese aliens, you know. At the time, they were not American citizens, but they were aliens of you know.
Mm-hmm.
That lived in America.
Right.
I mean, you know, they were legitimate, you know.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Yeah, so we had to move, you know. But we had to move to another federal housing, which is called Kalakaua Homes on King and Kalakaua Avenue, not far from Waikiki.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, it was a federal housing.
So tell us.
It was cool, you know. It wasn't a terrible place.
Mm. So tell us how you went from Hawaii to the mainland.
Well, well, you know, there's going to be a book coming out, you know, this guy, Theodore, well, anyway, Ted is a graduate of the University of Hawaii. For his doctorate, he wrote my life story, because we had about a 21 or 22 interview, you know, and
mm-hmm.
wrote a book on my life, how I got started, you know.
Right.
All that, and it's going to be published by the University of Hawaii Publishing Company, and we signed all the papers and all that, you know. Mm-hmm. And Ted Garneau is his name, you know.
Okay.
He's got his doctorate now, and then he's a former bass player that we worked together in Honolulu quite a lot.
What's his name again?
Ted Garneau.
Oh, okay.
French name.
Yeah.
It's an American, you know,
mm-hmm.
on the mainland that came to Hawaii for many years, lived over here. Like local already, you know.
Right. I'd like to ask you that when you were, when you first started going to the mainland to play, Did you encounter, who did you play with first when you went to the mainland? What band?
Well, you know, I was in the Army then, you know. I was stationed in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and I heard all these guys, you know, play like Cannonball, came down, and Charlie Mingus played in some of the clubs, and it was really, but prior to that, I went to school after high school, you know. I went to Baltimore, started at Peabody.
Oh, okay.
And then I used to drive down and with my friend Herb Ono and my classmate, you know, we used to drive down New York and listen to Charlie Parker.
Mm.
This is 1948 when he was playing the Royal Roost, and that's my first, you know, he was my idol. He still is today, you know. Yeah, and I talked to Bird, and I was exciting. You know?
What did you say to Bird?
I said, hey, man, you're my idol, bro, you know, and I said, he was with a beautiful lady. He told a beautiful lady, "Hey there, honey, there's a boy from Hawaii who want to talk to me." So, you know, he spent maybe about 5-10 minutes talking to me. I asked what he practiced and what kind of mouthpiece he plays, and you know, he was great, man. He was at that time Kenny Dorn was playing with him, you know, and the quartet, and it was and that's how I really told him, you know, like I love bebop, you know, and things like that. But we have a little bit of that in Hawaii, whatever we can get. But he said my first bebop record was Now's the Time, you know, and all that tunes, you know, the blues they wrote, he played. But that turned me around. Of course, I listened to all the other greats, you know, when I was a kid, to Johnny Hodges and Benny Carter, Coleman Hawkins, Lester, you know,
mm-hmm.
the whole bit, you know, because at my early age, when I turned 12, you know, and when I started playing music, I used to hang out with the other guys, and we used to go listen to records, you know, down to Hawaii Music Store on 4th Street, and tell Alice, "Hey, Alice, what's the latest?" You know, she tell me, "Oh, this is a Charlie Parker record, you know. You got to listen to that," and that's how I got turned on.
Would you say that's what the young people coming up now trying to be musicians, this is what they should do, is listen? You know, listen to...
Oh, yeah, you know, listen and get to know the history of jazz. You know, after all, it's American music, you know.
Mm.
He was born in America.
That's right.
You know. Mm-hmm. And you got to learn to play the blues. After all, that's what the basis is, you know.
Right.
Yeah. I always tell my students, hey, first you learn to play the blues. That's where it came from, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the gospel music and, you know, the black people and all that, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were in Los Angeles. You say you were in the Army, and you got to play a little bit while you were there.
Oh yeah, in the Army. I was stationed in Fort Belvoir, Virginia, in a band there, you know, in a post band, 356 Army band. And when I got out during the Korean War, I went back home to Hawaii and stayed in the Royal Hawaiian Band, and then I said, gee, you know, I had a nice gig, but I was frustrated. I want to play jazz, so I said, I think I'm going to L.A., Los Angeles, you know, use my GI Bill of Rights and study at there was a school there, Los Angeles City College.
Right, I went.
They had a musical program, a jazz program, like a big band, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, maybe I should go there. This is 1957, 56.